Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Precision IQ Line Management webinar brought to you by PTx Trimble. This webinar is for the UK and Ireland, but colleagues from across further afield are more than welcome. This evening's webinar will be presented by Olivier Monin, my colleague, and also myself. So for myself, Mick McCarthy, I'm the reseller manager for the UK and Ireland. I'm based in Ireland, in the west of Ireland, and I'm from a dairy farm originally. I was originally in the construction industry, working with Trimble products for surveying, set out, etc., and machine guidance, and then I transitioned into agriculture. Olivier Monin, my colleague, he'd introduce himself now.
Yeah, so I'm Olivier Monin. I'm sales engineer for UK, Ireland, and Benelux as well. I'm based in France, central eastern of France. I'm coming from a arable farm, and my background is I'm an agricultural engineer with a specialization in farm machinery.
Thanks, Olivier. For this webinar, we're going to have it interactive. So you'll see at the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A tab. Please, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in there, and we will answer all the questions at the end of the webinar or during the webinar if it comes up. Also, we will have polls throughout the webinar. Please, again, feel free to give some feedback on those polls so we have an idea where people are at. So to get going, this is our table of contents, and we'll start off with an introduction to PTx, because most people will remember Trimble Agriculture. We are now PTx Trimble. And then we'll go on to some quick reminders of how to use our Precision IQ software. And then we'll get into some basic guidance, then some boundaries, advanced guidance, and then we'll roll on to freeform lines and some extra features. At the end of the webinar, we'll have some helpful resources with some QR codes you can scan with your mobile device, which will bring you to links to dealers and also to some more online videos. So next slide, please, Olivier. So we'll get going now at about PTx Trimble and PTx. So PTx is AGCO's new precision agriculture brand. PTx stands for Precision Technology Multiplied for Maximum Farming Impact. It encompasses PTx Trimble and also AGCO's other brand, Precision Planting. We are focused on delivering mixed fleet, smart farming and autonomy solutions. Next slide, please. Within PTx, we have PTx Trimble. PTx Trimble was formed by a joint venture of AGCO and Trimble in April of this year. We bring together 4 brands, which is Trimble Agriculture, which you're aware, Muller Electronic, JCA Technologies, and Bilberry. Next slide, please. So PTx Trimble, as I said, Trimble Agriculture, which most of you, I believe, will be well aware of. JCA Technologies from North America, which will be our autonomy and cable manufacturing company. Bilberry, which is a spot spraying company from France, and also Muller Electronic, which would have been traditionally from Germany, which focused on isobus solutions. And all those together form PTx Trimble. Our sister company, Precision Planting, encompasses precision planting, headsight, and intelligent ag. These will be most seen in North America and Australia, maybe some in France as well. So with that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Olivier, who will now get into the stuff we're here for, and he'll start off with some quick reminders. Thank you.
Thanks, Mick. So we'll take the lead. Before entering deeper into the subject, I will do some quick reminders. The first reminder will be on the field data structure. So in Precision IQ, we are using the data structure client, farm, and field. So you can create as many clients as you want into your display. Into this client, you can create as many farm as you want. And into this farm, you can create as many field as you want. Into this field, into one field, you will find your landmarks, which could be points, lines, areas, your guidance line, which could be AB line, A+ line, curves, or future line sets. You can also find your boundaries, which could be simple, advanced, and your headland lines. At the end, you have your task inside the field, and the task inside the task, you have your task data, so the coverage, your applied rate, and some other useful information. And you have also the freeform lines, which are stuck into your task. So it's time for the first poll. So the question is, do you use the client farm field data structure in this way? So normally the pool is coming on your screen. Here it is. Yeah. So you can click on yes, click on no. Yeah. So we'll let just 5 seconds to answer, and I will continue to the next reminder. So the next reminder is the client farm field creation. So how to create this client, this farm and field item. So for this, you need to go into the field tab from your home page into PrecisionIQ. And from the field page, you can select your field just by pressing on this field to select it. But you have also some button to edit a field or create a new one. If you create a new one, you can edit the field name, of course. You can select the client you want for this field, the farm you want for this field, so where you want to stock your field, but you can also add a new client and a new field if you want. At the end, you need to press save and you are ready to go. So next part, basic guidance. So we'll review some basic stuff about guidance. I'm sure you will know most of the stuff of this, but you will probably discover some new cool feature. So we'll stay simple first with the AB, A plus, and curve lines. So how to create an AB line? So very simple. You go to the one screen, you click on the client guidance editor, you click on basic guidance, you click on the AB line, you set your point A, need to drive at least 10 meters, and after you can set your point B. When you are done, you need to save your line if you want, or you can replace your point B if needed. You click on save and you are ready to go. So just note this guidance editor tab interface is it's new or since last year. So since version 13.4. For the A plus line, the same way, you click on the guidance editor, basic guidance, A plus line, and you need to enter the heading of your the line you want. So by default, it will be the heading of the machine, so straight ahead in front of the machine. You can change and modify this value if you want. Just for information, 0 degrees is the north. After you press on save and you are ready to go. For the curve line, same way, you click on basic guidance. In the guidance editor, you click on the curve, you click on rec to start the recording, you record your line. During your recording, you can play with the play and pause button in order to create straight section into your curve line. And after, you need to press the stop recording button to be able to automatically save your line. And after, you are ready to go. So second part on this is the line shifting. So for the line shifting, two options. You have two options. The first option is to move temporarily the line. So for this, I will recommend you to first go into the setting of PrecisionIQ, click on steering and guidance, go down a little bit, and you will have adjustment. And into this adjustment, you can set up your increment for the nudge and implement draft function. So by default, it will be 1 inch, so 2.54 centimeter, but you can change this value as you want. After, you need to go into the run screen. From the run screen, you need to click on the guidance adjustment tab, and you will have several functions. So the first function will be to shift the line, so nudge function. You can shift the line to the left or to the right by the increment you decided or you choose from the setting of PrecisionIQ. The second option, which is marked on the screen, is the implement draft correction. It's to move the tractor to the left or to the right to replace the implement on the line, but the line is not moving. The line itself is not moving. You have another function to move the line to the tractor location. If you press this line, this button, the line will be automatically moved to the tractor location. It's a remark function. Or you can move the line by X meter or centimeter to the left or to the right. If you close the run screen, if we automatically go back to the original position. If you want to move permanently this line, you need to go into the Field Manager tab. So from the Field Manager tab, you click on Guidance Pattern. You select your AB guidance line, so it could be A plus line, a curve, whatever. You click on your AB line, for example, you click on Shift, and you are able to move to the left or to the right by X meter or X centimeter your line. You are also able to move the line to the tractor location if you want. So just keep in mind this with this function. So you will create a duplicate of the line. So you will keep your original line, but you will create a duplicate of your line with a shifting distance. Then the next function, next feature is the line renaming. So how to rename the line? So very easy. You need to go into the Field Manager tab. You need to click on Guidance Pattern, and you will have to select your line. And when you select your line, you click on the pencil icon, and you are able to rename the line. So for what reason is important to rename your line? So first, to find it easily, so you can recognize your line easily. But this line, or all the line, are listed into the alphabetical order into the list. So for example, I change for test line and it goes down in the alphabetical order. So this is the same order it will be used in the rotation when you will, from the on screen, you will use the swapper button to be able to change quickly between the line. So then you have the line filtering option. So for the line filtering option, you need to go into the Field Manager, Guidance Pattern, AB line, you select your line, and as you can see, you have a tag, application type tag, which is associated to each line. So this tag depends on the implement of the operator record the line with. You can change this tag as you want. And this is important because if you go after into the run screen, so you make a long press on the pattern selector button, you will be able to access to the pattern selector and you can filter your line. So basically, if you click on show, or you let the option show all the line, if you click on the drop-down menu, all the line into this field will appear. If you want to filter by your application type, you just have to click on your application type, for example, tilling, and only the line with the tilling tag will appear into the line, into the drop-down menu and in the rotation if you choose to use the swapper button, the pattern selector if you swap the line quickly. So you can also filter by implement swath width. So it depends with which implement you create this line. For example, with this line, this line has been created with 3.9 swath width. So if I click on 3.9 meter, I will have the line, all the line with the same swath width. Then it's time for the second poll time. So have you ever used the line filtering and were you aware of this feature? So we let 5-10 seconds for you to answer. So the next feature is a line hiding option. So it's a new feature available in the, or will be available in the new versions. So if you click into the Field Manager tab, always the same way, you click on Guidance Pattern and on your AB line or your curve, whatever, you have an icon, you have a toggle switch, which visible, you can make it visible or invisible. So if you decided to put invisible your line, this line cannot be activated. So either from the Field Manager or from the run screen, you cannot activate this line. So this line is still stuck in your display, but you cannot use it. It's the same for the boundary. So if you go into the boundary, you click on your boundary and you can make this boundary invisible. So this one will not appear in the background in the one screen, and you cannot activate this one as far this one is invisible. So this is a new function coming. So then we have part 4, the boundary. So I will review some boundary setting before moving to the boundary recording process. So we have the simple boundary, and now we'll have the advanced boundary. So after I will also review some definition on outer and inner boundary, and one feature which is boundary contract or extend function. So first we'll have third poll time. So do you use the boundary recording function? I don't know if it's appear. Yeah, it's good. So I will let you a few moments to answer this one. So I don't have the result, to be honest, but I hope after this webinar you will use the boundary recording, because I will show you some interesting feature we can do with the boundary. Just not get the position of the field and the boundary of the field. So first, the boundary setting. So it's a new interface, but in the new interface, if you click on the from the end screen on the guidance editor, you have a setting icon. So you click on this setting icon and you will be able to access to some setting. If you go down a little bit, you have access to the boundary option. So you have the advanced mode. Advanced mode, it's to switch between simple and advanced mode. Advanced mode is mandatory to be able to record advanced boundary to after this use the square headlands. Then you have the auto close boundary option. So this option, if it's enabled, you will automatically close the boundary when the implement is entering into an area around the starting point of the recording. And the area around the starting point of the recording is defined by the auto close distance. So in this case, I put half meter, but you can decide what you want. The next option, show the save boundary option. It's directly after recording your boundary, you can edit the boundary or generate headlands directly after. So if you want to have this option, I will recommend to let this on. So the simple boundary recording process. So this is something known, so I will probably spend less time on as the next part, because the next part is on the advanced boundary recording. But just I will just go over this one first. So how to record simple boundary. So from the one screen, you click on the guidance editor, you have simple boundary. So the advanced mode need to be disabled into the setting to be able to have the simple boundary. First, you need to define the boundary recording point on the implement, so left, middle, or the right position. Then when you are ready, you press the rec button and you start the recording. So you have, in the same way as the curve recording, you have the play and pause button if you want to do or to create straight section into the recording. So you can play with the pause and play button to be able to record straight section. So to stop the recording, there is two options you can do. So first one is to press the record button. So a straight line will be created between the starting point of the recording and the actual position of the recording point. Or you can enter into the auto close area. So if the implement enter into this area, you will automatically stop the recording. At the end, when you have finished the recording, you have several options which is offered. So you can edit the boundary name. You can configure the headland. So we'll review this in the part 5. You will see some interesting stuff about this. You can save the boundary, or you can discard the boundary if you made any mistake and you want to start again. So then we'll move to the advanced boundary recording. So this is quite new. This is coming normally this summer. At the end of this summer, it will be available. So to record advanced boundary, so first you need to enable the advanced mode, and you need to click on advanced boundary. need to define the same way as the simple boundary recording process. You need to define the left, middle, and right position. Then you press the rec button, and the process of the boundary recording is very similar to the simple boundary with only one difference. So you need to place corner points into your boundary on your recording. So you can still use the play and pause button to create straight section if you want. But the most important is to place this corner point. So this is the button to place a corner point. So as you can see, you have an icon appearing on the screen that you have placed a corner point. So I will show you and I will explain you what these corner points are made for. So into your boundary, at the end of the recording of the advanced boundary, you will have some segments because you place your corner points. A segment will be created between two corner points. For example, in this picture, between the two corner points, it will be a segment. At the end of the boundary recording, you can configure your boundary. So you can remove some segments. And if you remove one segment, the two adjacent segments will be projected to create a square corner. So it's mandatory, or it's highly recommended, to place a corner point at the entrance and at the exit of the field corner. And when you are placing a corner point, make sure the field corner is straight ahead when you're entering the field corner and right behind when you are exiting the field corner. So if you made a mistake when you place a corner point, you can still use the undo button if you want to remove the last corner point you will make. So one tips, it's most of the time the operator will start the recording at the corner of the field. So just after starting the recording, the best is to place a corner point just after this. And just before stopping the recording, place a corner point. So it's just a tip to make it more easier and accurate. So at the end, when you stop the recording, or you want to stop the recording, you have the similar option. So you can press the stop record button if you want, or you can enter into the auto close area. At the end, similar to the simple boundary recording process, you have several options. You can edit the boundary name. You can configure the headline. We'll see this in the next part. I'm sure you will find this very interesting. Then you can press on save if you want to save the boundary. If you are not happy with what you have done, you can press discard. And after, you can start again. So we'll not review the headline generation right now, but just after, I will just give you some definition about the outer and inner boundary and the infill line. So the outer and inner boundary, so when you're creating headlines, so we'll see in the next part, in addition of the headlines line you created, so it can be simple or square, basic or square, an interior boundary will be created, which is called the inner boundary. So the place of the inner boundary depends on the source width and the number of circuits that the headline contains, and this you can, of course, you can change it. The inner boundary can be activated from the on screen or from the Field Manager tab. So if you click on your advanced boundary, you click on your boundary on the arrow, you will see the headline, so which is the main, and you have your inner boundary. The outer boundary, it's the original, it's the main boundary. So if you go to the on screen, for example, I select this boundary, so B33. If I decided to switch for the inner boundary, it's the inner boundary selected. So then the infill line. So the infill line is a line which is linked to the headline. So when this line, this line will be used to work on the interior of the field. So for example, as soon as the operator selects the infill line attached to this headline, for example, in this case, it was the segment 11, it's automatically switching for the inner boundary. So this infill line feature is available either for the regular or square headline. So in the case of square headline, it could be a boundary segment or another line it as the operator wants. So the next feature is contract or expand option. So I don't know if many people are aware about this feature, but its feature allows the operator to create a duplicate, smaller or bigger, of the boundary. So this is useful when the operator wants to use section control when entering into the headland without using the headland feature. So from the field manager, you click on boundary or advanced boundary. You click on B on your line, for example, B33, and you click on resize. And from the resize, you can expand or contract, and you can enter the X meter or X centimeter you want to expand or contract your boundary. And you will have a duplicate. So if you want to contract, you can also contract the boundary. So this will create a duplicate of your original boundary with an offset which is bigger or smaller. The next part is about advanced guidance. So in advanced guidance, I will speak about the headland generation, the headland line, so basic and square. So this is square headland. This is a new feature which is coming, and you will probably find this very interesting. But first, I will start with the basic headlands generation. So first, when you finish your recording, you have the option to configure your headland. So if you toggle the switch, you are able to access to some option. So first, you can rename your headlands line if you want. You need to enter the number of circuits wanted, so 1, 2, 3, whatever, and the swath width. So by default, the swath width is the current implement swath. So if you want, you can edit it, but by default, it will be your current swath width. And after, if you change your implement, it will automatically adapt. So it will change the position of your headland lines. The turn radius is used to smooth out the bends, but it could be reduced. By default, it's 10, sorry, but it could be reduced to 0, and I recommend you to reduce it at 0 to avoid excessively wide bends. But this is it's only working for basic headland. For square headland, we are not using it. Then we have the boundary buffer zones, which could be configured to let the buffer zones between the headland lines and the outer and or the inner boundary. And then you can select your infill line if you want. So which line you want to affect to the interior of the field, to work on the interior of the field. Just one comment, an invisible line will not appear into the drop-down menu to select the infill line. So it's not activated, so we cannot select it from the drop-down menu. And then when you press save, you press save, and you have your headland, basic headland created. After, if you want to generate your headland later, so we got the boundary, but you want to generate this later, from the field manager page, you can go into your boundary, you click on your boundary, you click on create headlands, and of course you can create as many headlands as you want on your into your boundary. So you can create, and you have to edit the headland as you want. So the number of circuits, the swath width, the turn radius, and the buffer zones. If you want to edit this headland, you need to click on the arrow. You will access to the headland stock inside this boundary, and you can edit this headland if you click on it, and you are able to redefine the number of circuits, the swath width, the turn radius as you want. Then we'll move to the square headland generation. So a new feature, and as I said, maybe you will find it interesting. I hope so. So directly after the boundary recording, you just have to toggle the configure headland, and you click on square. You need to click on square. Basic, you will do the similar job at the basic from a simple boundary. But what we want is to create square headland. So you click on square. So square is the ability to generate exact parallel segment to the boundary. So you select square and you launch the designer. So after it, you will move to a new window, which is the designer tool. So in the in the design process, you have two steps. The first step is to edit the boundary segment. So you have two settings available for the operator. So the first is the segment enabling toggle switches. So the segment the operator doesn't want can be removed. In fact, it would be hidden when we say removed by using this toggle switch associated to each segment. The two adjacent segments will be projected to create a square corner. After, you have a second option, which is the segment straightening button. If the operator wants to get this segment straight, he can press on this icon and it will make it straight between the end, between the beginning, the start, and the end of the recording of the segment. But if you want to keep it as a curve, the operator can keep it as a curve. So basically, this is the boundary recording roughly. What we'll do is to remove some segment, for example, remove segment 2 and 4. And as you can see, the adjacent segments are projected to create square corner. So at the end, so you remove all the segments in the corner you don't want to use, and you have this kind of stuff. So you have this kind of field. So when you finish to record you create your boundary, to edit your boundary segment, you need to press next. So you will get your final view of this. So when you are ready, you click on Configure Headland, and in the same way as the simple boundary, the regular headland, you will be able to configure your headland. So configure the number of circuits, the swath width, the smoothing radius, even if we don't need it when we are using square corner. And you can also edit the outer and inner boundary buffer zones. You can also select an infill line if you want. In this case, I will select the segment 11, and as you can see, I will use this one to do the interior of the field. So if I change the number of circuits, I can change from 2 to 3, and it's automatically projected like this. When I'm done, when I finish, I'm happy with the configuration. I press save and exit, and I have automatically the field generated and the headland line generated with square corner. So you need to note the guidance selection is automatic. So you don't have to switch your line and so on. It's automatically selecting by the heading and the position of the tractor. So it will automatically select it. If you change for the infill line, you will switch for the infill line for sure, and you will switch the boundary for the inner boundary as well. The headland, just you need to keep in mind the headland line and the infill position will be automatically adjusted according to the implement swath width. So if you change your implement and the swath width change, you will have a pop-up window which say there is a mismatch with your current swath width and the swath width of your headland lines. Would you like to update this headland lines? You click on yes, and everything is automatically updated. So after this, you can still generate your headland from the field manager page if you want. So you click on the field manager page, and on advanced boundary, you click on the your boundary. You click on advanced, and after you are able in the same way to edit your boundary if you want, and to edit your headlands. If you wish to modify this headland, you can still click on the arrow. You click on your headland, you click on edit headland, and you can modify the number of circuits, the swath width, the infill line, and so on, the name if you wish. And after you press save, and that's it. So next poll time is, are you interested in this new square headland creation feature? And will you use it in when it will be available for sure? So I will let 5-10 seconds to answer this. Okay, so we'll switch to the next part. So the freeform lines. So Maybe most of you are aware about this feature. So the freeform line, just an overview. I will just launch the video. So the freeform mode allows the user to use the guidance based on the last pass within the field. So rather using a guidance pattern, so generate from an AB line or a curve, so you will replicate in the field. So you will always record, or the guidance point will be always based on the previous pass coverage or the previous guidance line. So you will continuously recording a new line for the next pass, basically. So after you can decide if you want to record this line related to the coverage or when you are engaged or you want to record it manually. It's up to the operator. So how it's working? So you have in the freeform line mode, you have two modes. So if you click on the guidance editor, freeform guidance, you need to enable this feature and you have two options. So you have the freeform AB line and you have the freeform curve. Freeform curve, you have three sub-mode or three ways to record the line. So manual, while engaged, or with coverage or material. So you need to note when this freeform line mode is enabled, you cannot use the basic guidance, so AB line, A plus line, curve line, or the headland lines. You are in the freeform mode. You cannot use the other type of guidance mode. So just start with the freeform AB line. So for this, you need to set your point A, your point B. It's more or less like an AB line. So it will work in the same way as an AB line. But because you cannot, if you want to do an AB line, one time in the field, it's useful because you cannot activate the basic guidance if you have the freeform line enabled. But what is interesting is the freeform curve mode. So for this, so you have three sub mode. The manual mode, so you tap record to start the pass recording, and you press stop when you finish the recording, and you need to repeat this each time on each pass. If you don't stop the recording, it will record continuously your line, excepting if you have the U-turn detection. If the U-turn detection is on, it will detect that you are doing a U-turn and it will stop the recording. After the second mode is while engaged, so as soon you engage the automatic steering, it will start the recording for the next pass. So for sure, you will have to record the first pass. You need to press record on the first pass. You press stop. And after, on the next pass, you engage and you will record for the next one. For with coverage on material, as soon you start the application of a product or you start the coverage on the screen, the recording of the line will start. So if you disengage the coverage, it will stop the recording. So we just have a video on freeform curve mode with coverage material. So you need to enable the freeform line. You press the curve with engage, and as soon I press the painting icon, I'm able to record the line. So I'm continuously recording the line for the next one. I can also play with the pause and play icon if I want to do some straight section. After I stop the painting, so the coverage, the recording of the line stop, and I can engage on the next pass. After I engage, and as soon I press the painting icon, the recording start again. So it will be the same with a material if you have an isobus implement and so on. So I'm finishing the line. I disengage. For example, I keep the coverage on, but I have the U-turn detection, so it's not detecting. So it's removing during the U-turn the recording. So the next one, next part, extra feature, we decided to show you one extra feature. It might be interesting, which is tramline. So what is tramline? So tramline feature allow the user to highlight the swaths which need a trimline, so where the operator need to perform a specific action like switching rows when planting or seeding, for example. To activate this feature, you need to go into the field manager, select the guidance pattern tab. You need to select your guidance line. It could be a curve, A+ line, AB line, as you want. You click on activate, so you need to activate this one, and you click on trimline. From trimline, you need to enable the trimline for sure. And after, you have two options for this. You have two options. First is the swath spacing. So the trimline will be placed every X swathes on the screen. And after, you have another option, which is offset. So you can place the trimline in the center of the tractor, so on the line. Or if you have a trimline, you need to do it when you are straddling two lines. You can place your trimline left or right. So you decide what you want after you save. And to activate the trimline, you need to go into the run screen. You press the guidance adjustment and you have a new button, which is set trimline. If you press set trimline, the trimline will be placed on the line selected, so the one in red on the run screen. So if needed, you have an option to create a new trimline line related to this trimline. So it will create a new line at this position you can use for further application like spreading or spraying or whatever when you want to do something else. So for example, I set this trimline on this line, which is the swath 6R. But if I decided to choose to load the trimline I just generated, the swath is 0. So if the trimline offset is set on left or right, the trimline will be created in the middle of two swaths. So for example, in this case, I create a trimline between with an offset on the right. And if I generate a new trimline line, this trimline line will be in the middle of the two swaths. So it's useful when I need to pass with my sprayer or my spreader in between two swaths of the planter or the seeder. So you can play with this trimline to be able to know where you need to pass after with your sprayer and your spreader. So, and that's it for me. I will let Mick finish on the last part.
I think we might keep you, Olivier. Just before we go to helpful resources, we've one question there, Olivier. So the question is, when we're sowing with a 6-meter drill and we're using a 36-meter sprayer, so your headland would be 36 meters, but your drill is 6. And I'm guessing they're inquiring about the settings that we use to get the tramline correct on the headland pass. So for that one, Olivier, I believe it would be a line shifting function where we duplicate the line and shift it by half the swath width.
If you are just using regular lines, yeah, to shift your line. After on the headlands, if you want to use on the headland line with square headland, you can do it automatically. So it will be done automatically.
It'll move automatically when you put
It's
in
the position of the line is related to the position of the boundary. So it will be automatically switch to the good swath width. Yeah.
Yes, and we can rename that line then again using the renaming function so that we know which one is which one.
You can rename all the line, the curve, the boundary, the headland. You can rename everything as you want.
Perfect. I hope that clears that one up there. So for helpful resources, so we go to the next slide there, please, Olivier. And the first one here is our website. If you wish to visit the website, you can scan that QR code there. You can put your mobile device, or you can go to PTx Trimble on the internet. So we'll give it a second there, just for anyone that wants to scan that code. Again, there'll be a video available, so we can look at that. And the next slide there, please, Olivier. So the next slide here is our dealer locator tool. So if you're looking for your nearest dealer, you can scan that QR code there, and that will bring you up the map of your area, and you can look for your nearest dealer if you don't know who they are. Also, you can contact us by social media if you need to get that information. But that QR code is for our reseller locator. And the next one, please, Olivier. Now this is for our YouTube channel. So we have some good videos there on the YouTube channel. Pretty much like this, how to use the screen, features, updates, etc. So please feel free to scan that also if you'd like to be brought to the YouTube channel for our PTx Trimble. And finally, then we've got QR code. Next slide there, please, Olivier. And it's for the square headlands, which is a video up on YouTube there at the moment. So you can have a look at it there, and it's more in-depth video on that also. So that feature will be coming in the next firmware release, and you'll be able to get that from your local dealer with a firmware upgrade. And I think that is everything. I'll just check the questions. I think there's no more questions in there. Finally, Olivia, next slide. I'd like to thank everybody for their time. I hope you found it very beneficial. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask any of our dealers to reach out, contact us on social media. And again, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you found this informative. Thank you.